This is my painting of Venus, the Greek goddess of beauty. The myth goes that she was born from a seashell in the sea, the daughter of Zeus, and quite importantly, in fully adult form. So she symbolizes a woman who was always mature and who never had to grow up. Now, unfortunately, this was definitely not the case for me. My 20s have been a period of huge change and discovery, to the point that I would hardly recognize the girl that I was 2, 3, or God forbid, 5 years ago. And although Alain de Botton would say that this is a good thing, because he says that if you are not completely embarrassed by the person that you were 12 months ago, then you haven't done enough growing, which basically means that I must be the most overgrown adult ever if we are measuring this by the amount of cringe or embarrassment for ourselves. As I'm still on this journey of self-growth and discovery and changing my mind about things, I thought let's chat about it all together here with you as a family. Because in my 20s, I've completely changed my mind about lifelong friendships and relationships, about money, about growth, about self-improvement, and all of these things. So I thought let's break down the main things that I've completely shifted my mindset about. Let's go. Now, the first thing I've completely changed my mind about is that you always need to be helpful or valuable to people. I don't know if this is because I'm the oldest daughter and I've always been in a role of kind of trying to help other people, but I've definitely internalized throughout my whole life this view of your self-worth or your worth is measured by how helpful you are. Like, what do I need you for? What are you useful for? Can you do something for me? And I definitely internalized this in the way that I became almost a fixer. And I only recognized this very recently, where I thought that unconsciously, every time that I would meet someone or every time that I would care about someone, the way that I showed my love or affection or attention is through doing things and helping people. As soon as I meet someone and I like them, my mind subconsciously goes to, oh my god, what do they need help with? And I'll just ask them, oh, what are you working on? And then I'll try to kind of do some work with them or do some work for them, or just like send them a link to something that might be helpful. And this is definitely the role that I took in all of my friendships and relationships so far in my life. In the last 2 years, I've met a few people in my life with whom this just didn't work. Like, they would just deflect my attempts to help them because they didn't want it. And this might be very obvious to those of you who are quite healthy in this regard, but to me, it was the first time in my life that someone said that they liked to be around me as opposed to I was helping them for something. And it completely blew my mind. And I think since then, I've kind of realized how concerning my behavior has been. This has been the thing that kind of uncovered this whole fact that my relationships with people are completely built around how helpful I can be for them, and my self-worth is so tied to how helpful or valuable I am as a member of society or as a person in a friendship or relationship. And this is really concerning. I think that self-esteem can fluctuate because sometimes you just don't feel good about yourself, and that's fine, but self-worth should not fluctuate, and my self-worth fluctuates so much around how helpful I am for other people. So this is something that I've really changed my mind on, which is the fact that human beings have inherent value just by existing. They don't need to do things. I don't need to do things to become valuable. I don't need to do things to become likable. I'm fine just the way I am, and anything else is a cherry on top. I hope this was blatantly obvious to the rest of you, but if it's not, I wish someone would have told this to me years and years ago, that it's fine, people can just like you for you rather than what you give them and what you bring them, and this doesn't always need to be kind of an exchange of value. You have inherent value by yourself. That should never change. The second thing that I've completely changed my mind about is the fact that you need a very clear and defined passion in life in order to be successful. When I was younger and I would see interviews or read biographies of top athletes or singers or musicians or businessmen or anything like this, they would always say that I always knew what I wanted to do from a very young age. It was crystal clear to me that this was my path in life and I took it. So I kind of internalized the view that in order to be successful, you need to know what you want. And if you don't know this, then you will obviously never be successful, because if you're just aiming for nothing, you will get nowhere. And this really concerned me because I had no clear passion in life. I like so many completely different things equally, and it really stressed me out when I thought, oh my god, I'm never going to be successful because I just don't know what I want and I'm completely hopeless, and why do I not have this one strong calling and this one strong passion? And I genuinely would sit down and write and think so much around figuring, do I like this thing slightly a bit more? Could I do this for the rest of my life? Is this my calling? And I just never found it. And I've come to the point in my life where I realized that this is just not true. And yes, there are some fields where you cannot get by without extreme amounts of dedication. I can't suddenly decide that I want to be an Olympic athlete for next year and apply for that. That just doesn't happen. But with most other things in life, you don't need to have these levels of dedication. And sometimes things are not crystal clear and you don't need to have a single linear path in life. this is especially true when it comes to my career, and I often think that, oh my god, should I go for this or this? And I like these two things equally. What must I do? And it seems to be such a tragedy in my mind. I've come to the point of realizing that my life doesn't need to have a single career, but my life is my career, and I can change, I can shift, I can grow, I can switch around, and it doesn't need to be set in stone. There's no chance I'm going to be one of these super successful people, but also I don't want to anymore. And I think that's just like a childish dream that I had a very long time ago, and I don't actually need this quote unquote success that these people have had. Okay, the next thing is a very recent one that I've changed my mind about, and that is that being indecisive is a bad thing. I am famous for being extremely indecisive as a person and switching my mind from one extreme to the other extreme super fast. And I call myself a passionate mind changer, which basically means I strongly feel one thing and I'm like, yes, this is amazing, we're going to do this. And then I let go of that and go for the whole other extreme. I go, oh no, this other thing is great and I'm going to do this. And I just flip between these so fast. It's been this way since the very start with big picture things. For example, oh, I want to live in this country. No, I want to live in this country. I want to be a pure city girl. No, I want to live in a cottage in the woods by myself. Oh, I want to be an artist. No, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a scientist. No, I want to have absolutely never be in the lab. So I really shift between these things. This is why I call my newsletter Strong Opinions Loosely Held too, because I genuinely feel so passionately and I'm convinced in my mind that I'm going to do one thing before my mind completely changes. And this has always been pointed out to be problematic because I'm not only indecisive with big picture things, I'm very indecisive with small things. Like I hate picking what to eat, where to live, what to do, what to wear. I just don't like making choices in general. And this has always been seen as a negative thing, and I get it. When other people are involved, it can be really bad to completely change your mind about things. So I've kind of got to the point where if other people are involved and I've said I'm going to do one thing, I just end up doing it because I don't want to switch around with others. But when it comes to myself, it's quite dangerous. I still do the thing of, oh no, I'm going to go to medical school. I'm not going to go to medical school. I'm going to take a gap year. I'm not going to take a gap year. So I often do this mind switching thing. And I used to think that this was a bad thing. And I used to try to do exercises to kind of train myself to be more decisive and kind of force myself to make more decisions in general. But I think I've come to the point of realizing it's actually a superpower to be indecisive, because what that has led to is me often making very opposite choices. It means that I have lived life in two extremes very often, and I've had to be okay with both of them. And I think this has led to me kind of being a lot more calmer as a person and going, well, you know, I don't really care what happens. And I think I genuinely feel this way very often with things where no matter what happens in the end, I'm like, oh, whatever, it's fine. And although this can be quite frustrating if you're the sort of person who says, oh yeah, you know, whatever goes, but I genuinely feel that way, that whatever goes. And I feel like I have a lot less resistance to what happens to me in life. And very often I don't have control of things anyway. So what is the point of trying to make these big picture decisions? Because I genuinely think it's a good thing to be able to be genuinely passive about things that happen to you and kind of go with the flow and feel that, yeah, it's fine, I'm happy either way. So I think this has contributed to my happiness. Exercising long-term non-decision making has contributed toward my happiness. So it's a bit of a controversial one. I would love to know your opinions on this, but I genuinely feel this way at the moment, that it's good to kind of be okay with anything. So the next thing that I've changed my mind on is that saving money is a good thing. Now, of course, to some extent, you need to have some money saved in order to be safe, and I genuinely do this, and I have this still, but I feel like I took this way too far in the beginning. When I was a medical student, I used to work part-time quite a lot, and my salary was like £9 per hour, so it was quite low. And if you work during university, you know what I mean when you are kind of putting your money into buckets and being like, okay, this is my rent, this is my food, and this is my transport, and oh my god, I have no money left, and these kind of calculations. But when I was a medic, I would still save so much money. And well, when I mean so much money, it wasn't genuinely a lot. Like in the end of the year, I would have £1,000 saved, and that felt like so much to me, and it felt so good. But in order to do this, I was skipping out on so many experiences. I wasn't going out with my friends, I wasn't eating out almost ever, I wasn't doing anything, and I would just save all the little money I had in a pot because I felt like it was a good thing to save the money. I don't think this is a good idea. I think beyond some basic level of, okay, if I get fired today, or if I'm unwell, or if I can't work for a while, I have some money saved. Beyond that, I don't think it's valuable saving during the time that I was in university, because £20 or £30 as a university student is about 4 or more hours of work, and it translates to a very good night out almost. But as saving this money for the future version of myself, who is potentially earning this money in an hour or less, and it doesn't contribute that much joy to my life. This money is depreciating in value very fast, and it's saved for a future me who will not appreciate it anywhere near what I would have at the time. So I think at the time, I wish I would have saved just a little bit of money to be safe. And then beyond that, I would have kind of had so much more experiences with the money rather than saving it, because very, very soon I can save those £1,000 a lot sooner in the future when I'm actually earning a salary than I would be saving them when I was in university. So with some caveats, I think saving money as a very young adult is a horrible idea, and that money should rather be spent on experiences with having some financial safety, of course. The next thing I've completely changed my mind on is that I can solve all my problems. I'm very much a problem solver. I love to create lists and to write everything down that I need to do, and then to solve all of these issues, and kind of I get so much pleasure out of fixing things, even for myself. However, I feel like this 99% of the time is a complete waste of time. The only thing that is guaranteed is that more problems will arise. And by being a problem solver, I genuinely feel that subconsciously I was creating issues and self-sabotaging to create problems for me to fix so I could feel good. I was associating so much pleasure with solving issues rather than just enjoying the moments. And I don't think I was even capable in the past of enjoying the moments in any shape or form. I would only get pleasure from solving things, fixing things, or anticipating the solving of things in the future. So I was so much future focused, problem solving focused, rather than just sitting down with myself and feeling, oh, things are okay. I almost never was able to do this. And I genuinely think that the anticipation of pleasure is so toxic and so pointless. If I think I'm going to be happy once I graduate and I'm a doctor, that is not true, because I'm going to have a million more new problems at the time, and that doesn't mean I can't be happy then, just as it doesn't mean I can't be happy now. So I genuinely think that everything will be okay when you are okay with everything, and this is just a mindset issue. I have really changed my mind into thinking if something doesn't genuinely need solving because it's a blockage in my life or because it affects other people, I should just completely ignore this and move on. And I've become so much better at kind of living in the moment and appreciating what I have, rather than thinking, oh, this needs to be fixed, that needs to be changed, this needs to be changed, this is not perfect, this is not okay. I still struggle with this a lot, but I'm a lot better than I was in the past. The only exception here is emotional issues. This I feel completely differently about, because I think that in your 20s, this is a great time to kind of realize, how am I overreacting to things? How am I not okay? How have I been shaped wrong or formed wrong, or how am I dysfunctional in my life? And I feel that we have 100% responsibility at this time to work on these things. This I'm completely brutal about. Every time I realize that I overreact to something, or that I'm potentially being not nice to other people, or that I have instincts to not be nice to other people, or that I unintentionally do bad things, I go, what is happening there? Can we just solve this? And there's so many resources to do this. In your 20s, I genuinely feel that you really have the time and space and the intellectual capacity to kind of reflect on yourself and fix yourself, because there's no excuse to not do this. There are books, there are free YouTube videos, there's therapy if you can afford it. There's so many things that you can do to kind of solve your issues and to uncover your issues at this time that will make you a much more functional adult. This is so important, especially if, like me, you really want to be a parent in the future. I think understanding as much as you can about yourself and about how you were shaped will definitely make you, I think, a much better parent. So this is something that I'm really working on in my 20s. So emotional issues are the only thing that I will definitely try to fix as much as I can. All other issues, I really just kind of ignore them, and I try to be happy in the moment. The last thing I've changed my mind on is that resilience is a virtue. This has been so internalized for me, because when I was younger, I was described this way. Everyone would be like, Elizabeth is such a strong girl. I'm so proud of you for being so strong. You stick through things so much. You don't complain. Horrible stuff. Resilience is not a virtue. Yes, if you are a parent, or if you are older, or if you are in kind of extreme circumstances, being able to stick through things, especially for the benefit of multiple other people, can be a good thing. But making it your personality that you can stick through pain is such a toxic thing, and I definitely had this. I think it kind of ties into the problem solving thing, where I would genuinely seek difficult or toxic environments for me to sit in, for me to get self-worth, and to go like, oh, I'm so proud of myself for sticking through this and not complaining. Awful. There is no pride in this. I genuinely now feel that I am proud where I can go, I don't need to deal with this, and just leave a situation. This is so much better. And I feel that more people should tell each other, it's fine to be a quitter. If something is not healthy for you and it's not contributing to anyone else's happiness, just leave. Absolutely leave. There is no problem. If you can't afford to, leave your house, leave your job, leave your career. I just wish someone would have told me this, that you can just go, you'll be fine. None of these things are necessary. And of course, there's an extent to which you can't just flick and just go wherever you want, and you need to be able to accept the situation that you're in. But if you sit on the extreme that I sat, of going that, oh no, everything is fine, I will just stick through this, and I'm such a strong person for doing this, that's completely crazy. You can cut people out, you can leave situations. I wish someone would have told this to me a lot earlier, because internalizing the view of being a quitter being such a bad thing and kind of taking it as a personal insult, everything that doesn't work out is my fault. Why did you not fix this friendship? Why did you not fix this relationship? Why did you not fix this job? Sometimes things are not worth fixing, and you can just drop and leave and move on with your life. So if you sit on the extreme of identifying with being a strong person, maybe you need to hear this. Also, if you're on the other extreme, this is not advice for you. Maybe you need to kind of sit in situations longer. But yeah, I generally think that extreme resilience is not a virtue and is not necessary. There's various different books that have helped me on this journey of self-discovery. I'm actually going to link the short form, but this video is not sponsored, but I'm going to link the short form kind of summaries of these books if you want to have a quick view of them later. But yeah, otherwise, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Be kind to yourself and others, and don't believe everything you think. Thanks. Bye.